this is off.
All the media here, thank you so much for joining us. We'll get started in just a moment. We're going to have a panel discussion with everyone, followed by a brief Q&A session. And again, the topics are specifically space management. So we're getting started here in just a moment. I'm just going to be doing a number of live streams. So in just a moment, we'll be ready to go.
Get a picture from up here. That'd be a cool thing to do for the board meeting.
Everybody good on mic check?
Check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Everybody got sound? Okay.
Sounds good.
It's just about 1 minute.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here today, and welcome. Today, I would like to introduce our Community Voices panel in their speaking order, and I know that they're eager to share some words, and at the conclusion of all remarks, we'll take your questions. With us today is Mr. Martin Traylor, Deputy to the Garrison Commander, Redstone Arsenal. Right here, okay, good. State Representative Rex Reynolds, District 21. Chairman Mac McCutcheon, Madison County Commission. Madison Mayor Paul Finley. Chip Cherry, President and CEO of the Huntsville Madison County Chamber of Commerce. And Lucia Cape, Senior Vice President of Economic Development, Huntsville Madison County Chamber. I also want to thank, out of this process, we have a lot of thank yous to be done. We would like to start off by thanking Chairman Mike Rogers, who was Chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, for his leadership and determination. We wouldn't be here today without Congressman Rogers. He reinstilled in us a sense of fair play, that the competition was merit-based and not soiled with politics. We'd also like to thank Congressman Dale Strong for his dedication and hard work, and to thank the entire federal delegation. A big thank you for the work that you did to make this become a reality. Thank you to the BRAC Committee, who volunteered their time to make this happen. Joe and Jeff, thank you very much. Thank you for the work that you did. I know this community has been waiting for years for this announcement, and it's here. As the President announced yesterday, the permanent headquarters for United States Space Command will be located at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama. This selection was based on strategic military value, and let's say that again, it was strategic military value and what's best for the national defense. With a focus on 5 key components: mission-related capability, infrastructure capacity, community support, cost to Department of Defense, and mission impacts to full operational capabilities. The decision also follows a twice-reviewed merit-based site selection process that began in 2018. This move will bring approximately 1,400 direct jobs over 5 years. And for those who are worried about the 1,400 jobs over 5 years, it's a simple math problem. They will be coming in over 5 years, 1,400 people, 280 people a year. Some of those people will live in Huntsville, some will live in Madison, some will live in Madison County, some will live all over North Alabama. If we follow the numbers that we saw back in the days of Mazda, Toyota, and some of the others, 60% will live outside the city of Huntsville. That puts us down to about 46 people a year coming into the city of Huntsville, a very manageable number, and a manageable number for us. We also, we will be working in collaboration with the national, state, and regional leaders. Huntsville stands united to welcome the employees in the team that we will call Space Command. Over the past 2 decades, Huntsville's deliberate, forward-looking growth strategy has driven significant investments in infrastructure and quality of life. We've added new roads, we've added diverse housing, state-of-the-art schools, and workforce development programs. Huntsville and Team Redstone are mission-ready to support Space Command with our highly skilled workforce, strong military community, and a city that embraces innovation. Our close partnership with Team Redstone has been essential throughout this process, and we have a proven track record for successfully relocating major military commands, including the Army Materiel Command, Army Aviation, Federal Bureau of Investigation, and others. And don't forget that we brought Mazda Toyota in 6,500 jobs, which were located within 24 months. With that, I'd like to turn things over to Mr. Martin Traylor with Redstone Arsenal. After Mr. Traylor will be Rex Reynolds, Mac McCutcheon, Mayor Paul Findley, and Chip Cherry. Martin.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you today. On behalf of General Mohan and General Lawrence and Colonel Ike, we are glad to welcome the Space Command to Redstone Arsenal. We look forward to getting him on board with Team Redstone and as part of the Federal Center of Excellence. We've been preparing for this for many years. We are ready to execute in support of whatever the Space Command needs based on their timelines, and we're prepared to start as early as FY26. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Those words of encouragement makes us feel good this morning, so we appreciate your leadership and you and your team. We've also heard strong words of encouragement and support from Governor Kay Ivey, also from Speaker Nathaniel Ledbetter, and with their leadership, your Madison County legislative delegation is ready to join this team here in support, ensure that if they need any state resources, they will be there and be available to them. We think that yesterday's decision was absolutely the right thing to do to maintain continued growth within Space Command, both command and control moving forward. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say that what you see sitting here at this table is a partnership of local leaders and state leaders working together to try to provide an economic development opportunity for our community. And this is an economic opportunity, yes, but it's also much, much bigger than that. This is about national security and having the right people in the right place with the right education and technology to get the job done. I just want to say a special thank you to President Trump and our congressional team there in Washington, D.C., our senators and our congressmen, because they have been on point with this from the very beginning and continue to work together as partners. And we join with them now on the local level as partners to make sure that once the building starts going up, people start coming in, we start getting jobs for people, that we're ready to go. There's been some discussions over the last day or so, and I've been reading articles of comments from different leaders in our state and our community and all. And one of the things that really got my attention was when you look at the qualifications of having Space Command here in Huntsville, I go back and I look over many, many years of a process by which Redstone Arsenal began to grow and the management of Redstone Arsenal and what was going on in our community. We had the BRAC come in, base realignment. We brought in more generals to the base of anywhere at that time around the world. And then from there, we built on the NASA, the Marshall Space Flight Center work that was done during the Saturn V days in the 60s. And then as we moved forward, we got into missile defense. And so now I look at Space Command coming and I look at everything that we have in our community that's already in place. And I think this is the perfect place for this so that we can bring out the best of what we have for our national security. And at the end of the day, this is not about communities as much as it is about our nation, protecting our warfighter, and winning the battle in space. Because you know as well as I do, and I'm not the smartest guy when it comes to missile defense and everything, but I know enough to know that with the technology we have today, the wars that we fight will be determined by the technology that we have floating around this earth. And so we are in a great place to be supportive and to bring our Space Command to what it could be and should be. So we're just really thankful. Thank you.
Oh, great. Let me follow Mac. Thanks, Tommy. But I will say this on behalf of our city council in Madison and all of our folks in Madison. We are really proud to be a part of this team and proud of this community and for this community for this announcement. One of the things we talked about a lot about was advocacy. And two folks, the Huntsville Madison County Chamber and the Madison Chamber, you know, one of the things that you get as a perspective is that they were advocating for the last couple of years, but especially over these last 6 months going up to D.C. and talking from a business community standpoint about being ready for this, excited for this, and hoping it would get back to the criteria that had been put forth for that. So the advocacy our chambers made was great. But then as we've gone up there as big groups to advocate for a lot of things in this area, you could just see the Alabama delegation up there was on point from the start. And it's not just words, it's actions. You know, over the course of the last couple of months, you guys have covered Senator Britt, Senator Tupperville, you know, Congressman Strong, Adderholt, Rogers. They're all bringing folks into this area and showing that center of excellence that Redstone is. And it's made a difference and it's made a positive impact. And then the final decision comes from President Trump. So we're thankful for the chambers. We're really thankful for our Alabama delegation. They have done a phenomenal job. You could hear President Trump talking about how many times they had spoken about this and how important it was to them. But he's the one that makes the final decision, brought it back to the strategic military value that Tommy talked about. And that's why it was chosen. And so, again, I'm proud for our community. You can see how excited our community gets when we all have something to rally around. And we've seen it in Madison with the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Every Veterans Day parade that we have is just packed to the gills of people that just can't wait to tell our military how proud we are to be for them and to be a part of them. So this is a really exciting time for our community, something really proud for our community, and I can assure you we will grab a hold of and do the very best we can and have, and just like we have in the past, to be successful with this.
Yes. So I'll echo the remarks about partnerships. We've been honored to be part of the partnership to help advocate for Space Command locating here and help them build the case as they evaluated our proposals that the governor set forward, and that we have a rich history of facilitating national security and national defense activities in our community, to include BRAC movements, major BRAC movements, and ramping up the FBI. That we have a very rich ecosystem in our community as well that supports these types of activities. We're proud to play a supporting role in national security, supporting national security efforts and national defense efforts, and building on that role with the addition of Space Command. I would like to echo the remarks about thanking both our state delegation, our state leadership, our federal legislative delegation, and President Trump, that this is the right move for the country, and we're just proud to be able to facilitate that. One of the major BRAC movements, Lucia, joined the chamber many years ago to support that, so I'm going to turn it over to Lucia to kind of wind us up.
Great, thank you. Yeah, as Chip mentioned, 20 years ago, this community learned that it was going to be on the receiving end of about 5,000 jobs that were being moved from primarily the D.C. area. And we put together a regional team to implement as many as possible moves of people who were in those jobs to retain the intellectual knowledge of those jobs and to provide mission continuity for the Army Material Command, for the Missile Defense Agency. And that program of work that we put together has been replicated many times since then for the FBI, for private companies that we've supported in relocating from other areas. And then 5 years ago in this room, we presented to the Air Force and shared with them that plan that we would put into effect for Space Command in relocating those provisional jobs that had been stood up in Colorado Springs to help them make decisions to move to Huntsville, to the Huntsville area. That plan has been used, as I said, for 20 years in different capacities. It involves sharing information, giving people the opportunity to make informed decisions about where they want to live. And nearly half our community is made up of people who moved here from somewhere else. So we have a lot to draw on when we're giving people information about living in Huntsville. We're ready to implement that plan again, to answer questions, to provide information, and we look forward to that opportunity. We've been working with the Colorado Springs community for several years now. We have many companies that have locations both here in Huntsville and in Colorado Springs. So we've got a great network of people that we can draw on to help us share that message, that this is a smart place. It's a smart place for Space Command. It's a smart place for people who want to be engaged in what we do here for the nation's mission and for the community overall. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucia. This is what makes us a success, is working with partners throughout, the partners up here, the partners who are out in the community that we work with in leadership day by day, and they make a big difference. Kelly, you want to wrangle the squad and as we take questions?
You all ready for questions? Okay, first one. Okay. Just identify yourself. Oh,
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm also Chicago with 1819 News on the North Alabama report. I cover this area.
Sure.
Mayor Battle, what is the expected impact on our roads and infrastructure in the Huntsville area and also by extension the North Alabama area?
Yeah.
If that would
Austin, I mean, this is really a simple math problem. When you look at 1,400 people who 1,400 jobs that will come to the area, traditionally in most BRACs and most movements, about 50% of the people come in. That's 700 people. 700 people over 5 years is 140 a year. Those 140 will be spread out all over North Alabama. I think that it's very reasonable that we can handle this. We have been handling it year by year. The city of Huntsville alone has grown by 7,000 people a year, year after year. Madison is growing by about 5,000. Madison County is growing by about 3 to 4,000. So the growth is something that we will have with or without Space Command. Growth is something that we look at very closely. We have been working in conjunction with the Alabama Department of Transportation and with the governor's office, with our legislative delegation, on our second road package that will come in after we finish the Northern Bypass and Madison Lake Overpass. So we have a very robust group of roads that are going to be necessary for our future, but they'd be necessary with or without Space Command. So we have been working with this for, gosh, the last 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah, three, very hard.
And so we will continue working on those road plans and road action. All the roads that we are talking about are federal roads, which are managed by Alabama Department of Transportation, who is our state partner in that. So we're working with each of them.
Mayor Battle, I'll direct my question to you, but if anybody else wants to take it, that's fine. As much as it should never have been, there's no question, relocating Space Command headquarters became political. And we're talking about a 5-year plan of moving this facility here. President Trump only has a little over 3 years left in office. Are there any safeguards or any level of confidence you all can have that another administration might not halt this?
You know, and I guess it is more of a national question for those. We're going to do our job. You know, that's our responsibility in this, is do our job of making sure that we are ready for Space Command to come here. Martin, you might want to answer a little bit. The Arsenal has been working on Plan B for quite a while because they knew that this was a possibility. The building will go very quickly. The money will be spent on Space Command. I don't see this as a decision that should be batted back and forth like a ping pong ball. This is a decision on national security, the ability of America to protect themselves. there was a competition for this, and that competition was twofold. We had the competition in the evaluation phase, and it was chosen that Huntsville would be the best place to locate. And the competition wasn't done just for political purposes. The competition was done to determine where the Space Command could be serviced best, where it could grow best, where the synergy was that could bring it to the table. The synergy of Marshall Space Flight Center, of Missile Defense Agency, of Space and Missile Defense Command, of Army Aviation. All that synergy tied together gives us a way to make sure that this is the best command facility in the world that can protect this country. That is, I think, the bottom line of this whole conversation is that people don't need to lose sight of that this is about America's defense, and this is about where America's defense can be best brought about. We went through the selection process. Huntsville was chosen again, number one. And as they were chosen number one in that process, it was again the same thing. Where is the best place for Space Command to come in, where we can have the most success as a country? And that was chosen to be Huntsville. We went through an IG investigation, an OG investigation, all that we could go through. And every time it came out that Huntsville was the best place for this to be located. So I think that we are on the right track. I think we're in the right place, and I look forward to being able to finish this project and get it into the operational phase. Martin?
So we've planned for a phased approach to this, as the mayor said. It will not be everybody showing up all at once, we're sure. So the immediate element that will probably arrive is what we would call a torch party. It'll be a smaller element. We're prepared to absorb that effective today. We have the space for that and all the communications and everything that's needed for that element today. The next one we see would probably be a small advanced party that comes in up to maybe 100 people, and we also have plans to be able to absorb that instantly. And then there's a two-phased approach kind of to the construction of this. There's a temporary site that will be built in the period of 18 to 24 months inside the secure area of the EUL on Redstone Arsenal, which is, if you're familiar with the Gate 9 area, Rideout Road, just to the left as you come into there. That will go up very quickly to house the Space Command in its entirety, while the MILCON, which will take 5 to 7 years sometimes to actually build, will happen. But that command can theoretically be operational here very, very quickly and under the 3-year timeline easily at Redstone. We're the Army. We're going to adjust to whatever we need to do. If they told me to execute tonight, we would absolutely execute that mission tonight. We're prepared.
Questions? Scott?
Just, I guess, for Chip and Lucia, what will be the chamber's focus in the coming weeks as far as talking to folks in Colorado Springs about coming to Huntsville and trying to get those folks to bring their experience here?
Right. Since Lucia has a lot of experience with this, I'm going to let her kick it off.
Well, we've been providing information on an ongoing basis for almost 20 years now. Our website, smartplace.com, was designed for people who were considering relocation. So we have a resources there that are about the communities, about residential areas, about healthcare, childcare, all the things that people who are evaluating a community would want to know. So we have been putting that information out there. So if anybody's looking, they've seen it already. But we will be creating some targeted material that will help people make individual decisions. We learned with BRAC that in some cases there are things that maybe aren't of interest to the majority, but they've got a couple of people that have very special interests that we need to address for them. And our goal is always just to provide that information so they make the best decision. So we will continue to point them to our website, respond to individual questions. And again, our community really serves as the best example of why people move to Huntsville, because we have so many of us who did make that decision.
Our experience with the AMC project when AMC was locating here was very first there was a very small number who were going to actually make the move from Washington, D.C. to come to Huntsville. And then I think what you would call the torch party came in first. And as they came in, I called them the scouts. They were scouts, and they'd come in and they'd look around the community, and they would call back and say, hey, this is a pretty neat place. You might want to come look. You might want to see if this works for you. And it was a multiplier effect with the people who came here. As they came here, they would talk to their fellow workers and talk back to the home base and talk to their fellow workers. And then those fellow workers would be the ones who would decide to come and visit. Once they decide to come and visit, we have a great margin of success on them once we can get them into the community and let them look at our community.
You know, I just want to jump in and compliment our chamber and back up what the mayor said. Many times we go to the air show events, we go to different places around the country that are space symposiums and those kind of things. And in doing that, as we talk to these different companies, one of the questions that I ask many times is about, tell me about your employees and what are they expecting when they look at things like quality of life. And Lucia was touching on things as simple as childcare and education for their children, living conditions and those kind of things. And so, you know, when we look at our local leadership, especially in the chamber, that's important. And something that's very, very important, especially in a situation like this, where you've got people that are out of state looking to possibly move here and relocate and set their lives up here. What are they looking for to have a good quality of life? And our local leadership is aware of that, and it's something important to us, and we want to make sure we're on the front end of that.
Yeah, and just to wrap that up, it's a deeply personal decision to make when you move and you're considering moving, and the team has a lot of experience in being able to address the issues that families have when they're trying to make that decision.
And on the end here? 48? It was both of us, but we can have Chris. Okay, go ahead.
We're talking about relocating folks from Colorado Springs. I have no question that there are definitely some talented people who know what they're doing at the Space Force headquarters or Space Command headquarters there. But what about local jobs? Are we looking ahead to how many local jobs this move will produce, both for Space Force, Space Command headquarters, and also some of the support organizations that will no doubt build up around here to support it?
I think you're exactly right. There will be a number of local jobs coming in, just in the direct jobs. If 50% of the workforce decides to move to Huntsville, that still leaves 700 jobs that will be filled by Huntsvillians, whether it's a badge swap or whether it's somebody looking to enter their second career or somebody who is local coming out of the four-year colleges or two-year institutions. All those people have opportunity. And I think that's what it's about. It's about opportunity to have a job. That's what this whole economic development process is about, giving someone the opportunity to have a job, to come forth, be part of our workforce, to be what we would call part of Huntsville success, to be able to put a roof over their head and food on the table and raise a family or have a family here. So all that is opportunity that this announcement makes happen for Huntsville, Alabama.
Derek Lacey, Axios Huntsville. This is for Mr. Traylor. You know, a lot's been made about how established Space Force is in Colorado, and you mentioned sort of the timeline for the build-up. Can you talk a little bit about, you know, how that transition is going to go, and also the sort of co-locations at the Arsenal that Space Command will utilize, and sort of, you know, from your perspective, why is Redstone the right choice?
So the fact that Redstone is the home, the historical home of the entire space program, kind of is point number one, I think, to it. The second one is, you know, if you look at the commands that we have there, everything from NASA to FBI to the Missile Defense Agency, all the things that Mr. McCutcheon laid out, you know, the synergy is there already. between those commands. Most of those elements are already dealing with Space Command on a daily basis now anyway, and it just makes it a whole lot easier because now in addition to being able to communicate over their secure communications networks and all that, they can literally go down the street and see the people face to face. And it's hard to, to put a price on the relationship factor of leadership like that. So it's going to have a tremendous impact, I think, on the national security and the operational level of that command being here. We're going to nest them initially in some of those facilities as well, so those are going to further solidify those relationships. But all in all, I think it's going to be a win for Space Command. They're going to be happy in the end, I think, that they came here too.
Scott Turner from mail.com. Mr. Trailer, I was going to ask, there was an announcement from the garrison a few days ago about changing the hours of Gate 3 because of staff reductions. Is the Arsenal looking at trying to make up for those reductions and hiring people to help with security for Space Command?
Absolutely. So the security of the gates and the issue of the traffic at the gates is not going to be impacted by Space Command coming in. We want to resolve that for the community that we have here right now. We can't. Space Command's not going to force us to do anything any different. We want to do what's right by the people that work on the Arsenal today. So what happened with the workforce reductions that happened over the federal government of late is they impacted Redstone in a unique way in that we, unlike a lot of other troop-heavy installations where you have commands of soldiers that you can use and surge into different places, we don't have that capability at Redstone. So we had to make decisions as a command, and our senior commander made the decision that the priority was going to go to the incoming workforce coming on the Arsenal every morning because that's part of our being good neighbors with the cities. Our gridlock at the gates causes traffic to back up into their areas. So we prioritized and we took the soldiers that we did have, which in our case are very senior. They're very senior NCOs, very senior officers. You typically would not see them on a gate. And we're able to put them on there for just a couple of hours in the morning to help us get the traffic through the gates and onto the arsenals at work. Where I have a hurdle at, unlike another installation if I were at, is that I can't, for instance, take those people and make them man gate 3, which is the gate you're talking about we just closed, all day long. I can't do that. So I have to close that gate at a certain time because I just don't have the numbers. At the end of the day, the long-term solution to this is within my new top strength, what I have to work with, I'm going to have to reprogram positions and recreate guard structure. It is a problem that will take a little bit of time to resolve. In the intermediate time, we have soldiers helping us. We're working some other options. We face some statutory limitations on us. We can't use contractors. We can't use civilians. There's a lot of things that we just statutorily cannot do to resolve this problem. But it's a problem that's going to exist in the short term, relatively speaking, but it's not going to be an enduring problem for the Arsenal. If you were here in last year, you saw us hit our high water mark and things were running phenomenal. And then, unfortunately, we had some unique situations that hit us on the resources, and it is what it is, and we're working through it right now on a daily basis. We have absolutely a whole-of-government approach to this on the Arsenal. The other tenants are helping us with some resources to try to help resolve this. It's just a matter of time that we have to work through and right the ship, so to speak.
Next question back here, please identify.
Hi, Faith Del 48 News. Mr. Trailer, you mentioned the construction for Space Command, and in the big beautiful bill, $30 million was approved for the architecture design. Is there money in there for the construction, and also who's handling that? Is that going to be local contractors or something else?
So in phase 1, the temporary phase, that will be done through the contractor that oversees the enhanced use lease agreement, which if you're familiar with the Arsenal, everything from Gate 9 north to 565, that's all an enhanced use lease. That's Army property that we leased out to a developer who builds to suit. That's all done through, however, that company's construction process goes. I don't know. I'd have to refer you to COPT for that issue. On the permanent side, the MILCON, the military construction side of this, we will go through the Army Corps of Engineers and we will follow their processes. And Most of the contractors here local already know how to work with the Corps of Engineers and with the garrison, with our public works, and through our JOC contract and different ones to secure support elements for that. So we're going to use every tool we have in the toolbox to do this and to do it quickly.
And let me add on, Redstone Gateway is scheduled to have 4.7 million square feet of office space out there. Right now, they're probably at 2.5, 2.7, so they've still got 2 million square feet of office space that will be built over the next 10 years.
In our last few minutes, we have not had a question. Follow up. I'm sorry, second row back here.
Hi there, Gracie Ann Gooden with the Decatur Daily. Mayor Battle, you mentioned that with, just based on the Mazda Toyota numbers, about 60% of people coming in didn't live in Huntsville. So I'm curious about the anticipated effects this will have in the surrounding areas.
Sure. That's one of the things that we look at very closely. The road plans that we have been working on, Chairman McCutcheon, myself, Mayor Finley, along with Rex Reynolds, working with the state, have been road plans that are on the peripheral areas of the city so that people can get into work faster, they can get back home faster. One of those plans in the first group of Restore Our Roads is 6-laning 565, so people can get to Decatur quickly and can get back home quickly. We're working on a lot of different road packages all across the North Alabama area, and I think what it does, it helps the whole North Alabama area. We have to, quite frankly, we have to have the 1.2 million workers that are found in North Alabama to be the workforce that comes to Huntsville on a day-to-day basis. 110,000 people a day come in here, work, then they go back home. 60,000 people leave here and go to another community and work. So those road plans are very, very important to us.
Could I interrupt and jump on the board?
Sure.
From a road plan perspective, when you look at the major plans that we have, the northern bypass connector to 255, that is to help our people working in Tennessee, southern Tennessee, and those areas coming in to the work. One of the, as the mayor mentioned, the 565 additional lanes we've got helping with the west side going towards the Morgan County Decatur area. Then you look at the two major plans that we are working towards now to get funded and to that's priority in our MPO plan. One is the intersection there at 565 and the Parkway. That is to help traffic coming in from South Parkway, north, east, and west to help move the out of city, out of county workforce in. And then the next part of that would be going 565 eastbound. So when you look at just those plans, they're really designed, as the mayor said, to bring a workforce in. And so that's a priority for us.
Last few questions. It's got one more in the back.
This is for Rex. I talked to Art Delore about a year or so ago, and he was concerned about how much funding North Alabama gets when it comes to road projects. Will Space Command coming here, you feel like that will steer more state dollars for road projects?
Well, I think to answer that, both the chairman and both mayors have been communicating with the state for several years based on what traffic we need to move today. So I think we continue to have that conversation. We all jointly believe that we need to expedite funding for infrastructure in North Alabama because of the growth. And so we've got to continue to carry that message. As you know, of course, I am the general fund chairman, but that's a what I call a middle column line item. So the legislature does not adjudicate that to these projects. So that goes directly to Department of Transportation, as Mayor Battle alluded to. But we got to work on that. We got to continue to have that one voice.
President Trump hinted at yesterday the Golden Dome concept. Is there any relation between Space Command coming here and Golden Dome?
You're probably way above our pay grade. But Golden Dome does fit into the synergy of what we're looking at. It fits into MDA, it fits into Space and Missile Defense Command, which tracks all of our assets in low Earth orbit. NASA has numerous vehicles in low Earth orbit, and Golden Dome is going to be in mid-Earth orbit. So it all fits in together, and I would say that it gives us a synergy that that gives us the power to be able to do exactly what we need to do on the defense of space.
Sorry, and last question.
First of all, economically, is there any kind of assessment of how far beyond just Huntsville and Madison County folks are going to benefit from Space Command's presence here? And then also, specifically for Mayors Battle and Finley, what can our local business owners and maybe even our local schools, our local hospitals, what can they do now to be ready to not just embrace Space Command headquarters, but also all those families that are going to come?
I think one of the things we've got to look at is we all work in conjunction with each other. I mean, the whole North Alabama area is very important. Every worker that works here and goes back to Florence or goes back to Athens or goes to another area takes about $100,000 a year of spendable income into that area. That spendable income becomes sales tax, property tax, privilege license tax, all the above. And so it's an economic boon to each of the cities and counties and throughout the state. But bigger than that is the idea that it's an economic boom to every one of those restaurants, to every one of those hotels which are located out there, to every one of those stores which is selling the goods. As you look, 10 years ago we did a survey and people wanted a Trader Joe's and they wanted a cheesecake factory and they wanted a Nordstrom rack. Well, we've gotten 2 out of 3. As the late Mrs. Battle used to tell me every time I went to work, she said, "Go get me a Nordstrom." And I said, I'll work on that thing. But, that's going to be portions of what we see as more people come in. There's more things. IKEA came here because we're a growing community. And as we bring Space Command here, as Golden Dome gets working, it gives us more capability and more businesses that can prosper in this area. And as they prosper, they will grow and they provide more services for our citizens. It's part of your quality of life. And every great community needs to have an art museum. You may never go to the art museum, but you want to make sure you have an art museum. Well, the same thing with retail stores. You've got to have those retail stores. They're part of your quality of life.
Yeah, and we've seen time and time again with new projects that have located here that it's a truly, as it was mentioned earlier, a regional workforce. That's one of the reasons transportation is so important. But we capture people from a 14-county labor shed, and there are people coming in every day from throughout that 14 counties. So Space Command will have an impact on that entire region as we go forward.
Yeah, and looking out, as you've heard about these different projects, there's 7 of them right now that we're speaking with one voice on. Those bigger projects that both Mayor Battle and Chairman McCutcheon were talking about are in addition to, there's about $380 million right now of road projects just in Madison County in this area that we're working on. So I think one of the things we do for businesses is listen to how we get them to and from. The question you had, the Decatur's coming in from 565. The east side's going to come in from Shields and Moores Mill where they can get there more quickly. And then the second thing is both chambers, are support one voice. The one thing that we have continue to have success on is we don't really care where they live. We do, but we don't. I think if we just do a good job of offering multiple opportunities within multiple quality neighborhoods or cities, their respective family will choose where they want to live or who they'll bank with or which hospital they have a preference for. We in turn are responsible for the infrastructure, and that's what we're working on. And I think the school districts in this area are just phenomenal, both on the high school level and then on the secondary level. We just continue to get bigger, better, and stronger. Because I think we just don't care who wins. We just want to continue to win. And there's criteria that was put out there, and I think this community focused on that and continues to work really hard on doing our part on making whatever criteria is out there that makes quality of life better. And then we'll let others judge what's happening. And I think it's neat that we continue to have outsiders say you're doing a great job. And as a mayor, I can tell you that the last thing I'll ever apologize for is that people want to continue to move here. It's just a great place to be, and a really smart place. And so if any inhibitors come up or problems come up throughout this entire thing, there's a lot of people that just can't wait to say, okay, let's attack that and continue to make it better. So.
Yeah, just a little last comment on infrastructure. Back to what Mayor Battle said. There are funds that the general fund does appropriate, and that's our A-Trip 2 projects. And just as he said, the last 4 projects in Madison County have been on 431, 231, 72 East, and Highway 53. So we're connecting where they can and what we can fund as we build out the big money, working with our federal partners and delegation to get federal dollars and state dollars in North Alabama.
I think our last thing to leave you with is Resolute Way is number 1 priority for the Arsenal. General Mohan has told us that. General Gainey has told us that. Resolute Way gives us a third way to get into Gate 9. It also alleviates a lot of the traffic on 565 and Research Park, that intersection there. Resolute Way is one that we will be working very hard to get done before the full Space Force moves in, and we'll be asking for partners in that. And I know the state is committed to being partners of that. The federal government has too. So we'll be all working on that. Will be the number 1 priority that we will be hitting.
Thank you all for coming today. Mayor, do you want to close this out?
I'll just close this out by saying thank you. Thank you for coming out today, but also thank you to all the partners that we have here. The partnerships are what have made us a success, and we have many of those partners sitting here. We have many of those partners also who are in offices or at homes who have helped make this community what it is. As Mac was saying, there's a natural progression. We started with a German scientist team that wanted to put rockets in the air and went to NASA. We went to Missile Defense Agency. We went to Space and Missile Defense Command. We went to Army Aviation. You put all that on there, and the progression of it ends up being Space Command. And each of us are going to be standing on the shoulders of some giants who started 50 years ago making our community what it is. And today we've taken that community and we've made it into something very, very special. I think they'd be proud of the work that we've done. And they would also be saying that right after the announcement, that's when the real hard work begins. So we'll start the hard work, and thank you for being here.
Deal.
Thank you.
Good stuff.